Welcome to the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Together we explore the vast landscapes of life, delving into the rich soil of experiences, sowing the seeds of curiosity, and harvesting the profound wisdom that each episode unfolds. Hello, I'm Mike McMahon with Harvesting Wisdom podcast, and I'm here today with Yin with Greenworks at their grand opening of a new branch in Southern California in Valencia. Thank you for inviting us here.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for coming.
love to see all the things you're doing. Tell me a little about your journey, because it seems like an overnight thing. For a landscaper, 5-10 years ago, I had played around with a few electric tools, but I never thought that they'd work in a commercial setting with it. So it seems like, to me, I had talked to Horizon, and they told me, well, and I used other brands, and I like, well, should I use this and this and this? And they said, well, you better check out Greenworks because they have a full line and they have a full program. But to get there, I'm sure it was not easy. And you started this in 2007. So tell me a little about that.
So before 2007, we were doing battery products for consumer, for the garden side. And then back then was a nightcap battery for the handheld, lead acid battery for walk behind.
Okay.
And then, so it's two different battery. And then it does not have enough power. It does not last long enough. And the lead acid battery for the mower was just too heavy.
Well,
And then in 2007, we were actually the first one launching a lithium battery products back in 2007. So the first one was a 20-volt, 6 amps hour brick system. And then so we use that battery to power trimmer, hedge trimmer, chainsaw, and blower. So we launched 4 products using one battery, lithium battery in 2007. But at that time, that battery, looking back then and versus the battery now has much more power, has much less weight, has much more joules inside. And so since 2007, the technology evolved so much. And then so at the point of 2016, we say, okay, we now covered most of the consumer side. Maybe we should kick off the process of commercial one. So we actually kick off with our R&D team in Sweden, develop the Greenworks Commercial products for the landscapers. So back then, it was the best efforts then. But now looking back, those products back in 2016 just not good enough. So throughout the last 8 years, throughout the development of the products and the engineering breakthrough, and also the technology breakthrough, like your battery breakthrough, your controller, your motor breakthrough. With those technology breakthrough, now finally you have a package that powerful enough to replace combustion engine, and nowadays even more powerful than the combustion engine. And now then the runtime, does it last long enough? Okay, with one battery now has enough joules to run as long as 1 tank of gas. So that's good. And then the third one will be the charging. So I have the power, I have the runtime. Do I have the charging? So as you see today here, so we got the charger system sorted out. So we actually have 3 type of different charging system fitting for different scenario. So now this whole package, now we feel with Optimus battery whole program now is complete enough, comprehensive enough to provide your operators a total end-to-end solution for them.
So over a 20-year process, you were looking at problems, and you came up with, hey, we need to charge it, and we need better batteries, lighter weight, more powerful. So you went through this entire process, and you need a full product line.
Yes.
So not a inexpensive process nor an easy process, but not only did you look at the problem side, at the same time you were waiting for technology to evolve. So it's a really an amazing story. And you guys are located, you're worldwide. So you started and still manufacture a lot in China, and You just mentioned Sweden. You do a lot of your
R&D in Sweden.
okay.
So we have about 400 people in US. We have about 100 people in Poland, Canada. We have about 150 people in Europe. And then that we have 3 manufacturing plants. We have one in China, one in Vietnam, and one in Morristown, Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay.
Tennessee, Morristown. So our ride-on products are all finally assembled in Morristown, Tennessee.
Okay.
And then we actually have the plan now with the volume goes up. So one day we will make all the key components in Tennessee as well. And looking back, we bought a facility in 2022, and then it's up and running February 2023. And then now looking back, that was very necessary to supporting our customers. By having a factory in Morristown, we are able to have enough resources on the ground to support our customers. And I cannot imagine to do like this kind of ride-on products, such a complex products, without a factory on the ground. It would be we won't have enough resources to support our customers.
Right.
So I think that now, so these are our global resources. So we have 600 R&D engineers working on products all the time. Yeah. And then we are vertical integrated. So which means 85% components, key components, we all make in-house. From that perspective, we are very similar to people like Tesla. So we produce a battery in-house, we're producing a motor in-house, controller in-house, and fabrication in-house. So we are able to using the world-class manufacturing process to deliver the best quality, best performance products.
And your Optimus line is all about being the best, right?
Exactly.
The interesting question I've got on that is, to myself is, if I had met you 20 years ago, would have I invested in such an idea? And absolutely not. The likelihood, what do you think? The likelihood of you being able to do all those things. And meanwhile, we had COVID, we had supply chain shortages, we had ups and downs in the market. At the beginning of the 07, 08 in the U.S., 09, 10, 11 was horrible.
Yes.
We had a major downturn in real estate, and so services like landscape and stuff took quite a hit. So the ability to have done all the things, which, by the way, coincidentally, you had to have technology. So there was this bit of serendipity and luck involved to be able to get to where you are today. So you have to be looking at this today and congratulating yourself, because this is quite an accomplishment to get here. The likelihood, but you must have had enough vision or enough drive. What kept you going throughout this process?
We were the first one in developing the lithium battery products. And all along, I think especially since 2016, with all those efforts, we have the landscapers' interest in our mind all the time. We trying to visit their operation site, which our product team, go with them, observe their using habit. We send a lot of tours to be tested, etc. We do a lot of benchmarking, and we try to understand what's important for them, what is their daily challenges, right. How in our products, how in the package of our products, able to address all their challenges. It has not been easy, but so we made a lot of trial over the last few years. Some are actually expensive trial looking back, but fortunately, now we are where we are. This Optimus lineup is Optimus lineup. Without the last 7-8 years effort, we won't have this Optimus lineup. Now having that Optimus lineup, now we feel, wow, finally we made it happen.
And a lot of it is energy related, right? So it is the lithium battery and that journey that's made a difference. And you just mentioned big groups like Tesla. There's a lot out there that are innovators in the same space as you. But is that information shared? I mean, the industries are protective of their information, but there's an evolution in this stuff. Obviously, you can take a product and take it apart and look and say, "Oh, this is what they're doing," or whatever. But it's quite a process. How much of that do you feel like you had to put on your own back, and how much was just common source, open source information?
The Optimus Z, the Z, now after the launching for almost 2 years now, we still feel it has the best design in the market. And that Optimus Z design, we had the 2018 we launched our first generation of electric Z, and then when we launched Optimus Z, it took us another 18 months before the launch to develop everything. Typically, when you move from one generation to another generation, you change 25% components. But the Optimus Z versus the previous one, we're changing 99% components.
I was like, "God."
Basically, everything changed. And then just give you one example, you were asking about, talking about the Tesla situation. I actually follow electric car industry very closely.
Amen.
And when Tesla launched the Tesla 3 S, put the battery underneath people's seat, that really changing the electric vehicles direction. So then everybody after that following to putting the battery underneath the seat, because that's the best design. And then when we did the Optimus Z, we were thinking where we put the battery. What battery cell we using? We need to using a very safe battery. What's the construction of the battery? It need to be very simple. The best thing, the best design is always comes from the most simple design, achieving the same object.
It's so hard to go simple
Exactly. That's actually a difficult
for
one.
everything. Right?
We actually threw away 3 battery design throughout the development. Each threw away cost us 200,000. So my engineers was crying. Oh, geez, we spent another 200K. I say, if it is not the best one, we will regret it later on even more. So we choose the best battery design. Then we say, okay, where to put the battery? In the past, we put the battery behind the driving seat, and then so you have the unit sticking out too much. So now we say, okay, in the trailer, what is the very important thing is the footplate. So I'm doing a 60-inch zero turn. How much space I'm taking?
Sure.
And then typically gas engine is sticking out the unit very long.
Right.
So you actually have a much longer
We
footplate.
shorten up.
We shorten up. And then we say, okay, where do you want to have your center of gravity when you're on the slope? Of course, you want the center of gravity lower. So where is the best place to put a lower center of gravity to put the battery is on this your seat.
Right.
So we
Of course, you got the mower below you, so you've got this.
yes,
The human or the stand is either standing or sitting, and then you got the battery.
then you got to the deck.
Then you got the deck with the.
So the center of gravity of our unit is really low.
Right.
So that's why a lot of operators, when they try that, they say, wow, this is, I'm in the slope condition.
Feels balanced.
Feels very in control. Feels very in control.
Right.
So those from those designs, so now we come up with this best electric Z design. So now after 2 years after launch, I've heard nothing but there's positive comments about the Optimus Z. And then Optimus Z is a Latin word, means the best. So we internally we have a challenge of our team. If your product if it's that category, you are not the best in your category, you won't get the Optimus logo. And so for them to get the Optimus logo, it has to be the best in the industry.
And you've got over 100 products.
So now we have the Optimus lineup over 85 applications.
Wow.
So now that's for basically the full end-to-end solution for the landscapers. So it's able to be addressed by the Optimus, Greenworks Optimus program.
And it never ends, right? I mean, there's always something else you can do. And we know that now this line changes everything in the landscape. We know trucks have evolved. I just bought a fleet of Ford Lightnings.
So
They're phenomenal for us. And I got a bunch of Teslas for administrative people. Their pickup truck is not a functional commercial truck, and it's priced much higher than that. So everything that I'm doing has to be cost effective. Now, with my nonprofit, we do everything is sustainable, regenerative farming, and we're part of the Climate Reality Project
Mhm.
in Arizona. But I can't afford as a businessman to save the world.
Mhm.
I have to have a model that's reusable for me. And in a smaller scale, buying one or two pieces of equipment
Mhm.
might not work.
Mhm.
I have to figure out a way to charge it at night and all kinds of things.
Mhm.
But at the scale I'm at, I'm able to do what you're doing here. That we've got, we just bought two trailers,
Mhm.
putting solar on top.
Mhm.
We'll get the cube, which is a major part of it.
Mhm.
And now I realize, and so I did the math, and I believe I'm saving, in the neighborhood, and we'll find out, 10 to 20%, because I think the equipment, I believe, is going to last longer. Part of the way we destroy equipment in the landscape world is, we have two-cycle oil,
Mhm.
and it doesn't get mixed well,
Yes.
or it doesn't get shaken up.
Yes.
And then you have all kinds of downtime with
Mhm.
motors and engines and that kind of thing. And with this, you don't have any of that.
Mhm.
I have less, mechanic need and that kind of no oil changes to speak of or anything like that. So that's all part of my
Mhm.
formula.
Mhm.
And now we're kind of co-branding here.
Yes.
You've done it, you know it, you believe it, you already know it.
Yes.
I'm a skeptic, right? I'm a landscaper.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'm really, I think, the first one in Arizona taking this on the way we're doing it. And we got different issues too. We got 120 plus degree temperatures,
Mhm.
so it'll be an interesting process. But part of what's helpful is um, with your GPS tracking and everything else, I'll be able to get metrics that way.
Mhm.
I'm going to be able to, we have sun 7 days a week in Arizona.
Mhm.
And, that's something I've never really tracked is how much actual time do I have my guys out on the mowers?
Mhm.
Because I have different crews. I can't have one mower running, several hundred miles away
Mhm.
from another. So each crew has to have their own dedicated equipment, but there's a utility factor.
Mhm.
When I buy, and I've always been trained, I need 80% utility.
Mhm.
I'm guessing the all this equipment is more like 40%, 50% utility,
Mhm.
and I'll find that out.
Mhm.
But those metrics are critical to how I design and structure
Mhm.
the crews, and it's going to be part of how we manage the organization. So between what you have, that's digital information I can download and the way we are treating things, I think the amount of time we're using the equipment,
Mhm.
even though I think it's using, what is it, an entire trailer would use 2 mega. I don't even know
Right.
the measurement, the unit measurement of energy,
Mhm.
if it's some sort of wattage that's going out, and amperage as well.
Mhm.
But what we're thinking is that there's enough sunlight that
Mhm.
a fair amount of the charging now is going to be solar.
Yes.
And if that's the case, then I don't have like almost any energy cost.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's going to be interesting to see after a year. I think really a 5 year study is going to be great, but
Mhm.
and I can't even imagine the advancements that'll happen over the next 5 years.
You mentioned a very good point. First, you have a closed trailer. Second, you have put a solar panel on top of it. It's actually a great thing to do because once you do that, you cool down your trailer immediately by basically the heat
Blocking
from
the
the
sun.
sunshine all goes to generating the energy, electricity to power to recharge your battery in the trailer. And then I just did a very quick calculation. You're probably able, with a good sunshine, 4 day good sunshine, you're probably able to recharge yourself half of the energy you
Yeah,
do.
about that. Yeah, because we only have a 12-foot trailer,
Oh, 12 foot.
so it's not going to charge quite as much, but we got 7 days a week of it.
Yes.
And in Arizona, the one thing we
You have
have
very
is
good sunshine.
so it'll be a really now. I noticed that my performance with the
Uh,
Tesla I drive
yes.
in the summer, in the heat of the summer,
Yes.
is diminished quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
Not something they talk about or publish, but we notice it with our vehicles. I don't actually notice it much with the Fords. Then again, the Fords are all brand new,
Yeah.
so there's a depreciation over time. But it's an interesting metric that
You you have choosing a very nice way, and I think because you have done this in a systematic way, I'm pretty confident you will be able to enjoy the benefits in the months to come, years to come. And it would be very good for you to share your experience with the rest of the country.
That's the whole idea, you know.
Then I think that our goal is we want people move from gas to battery is not because they have to,
Right.
it's because they want to. And
Because it makes sense.
it makes sense.
That's
And then so for our job is to make that transition. Not only you have more power than gas, you have less noise than gas,
oh yeah.
you have less maintenance than
The
gas,
co-benefits are amazing.
and then you're also able to save money throughout during your operation. Then, by the way, you're also doing good thing for the environment. So I think the total thing for I'm actually very glad that you taking this systematic approach.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this systematic approach will get you the most benefit.
Well, it's also downtown.
Yes, yes, sir. Oh,
You know, we have a mower, and the guys put the wrong gas in it, or something happened to it, and you know, it's got so many mechanical parts that once it goes, now I got to get a new engine for 10 or 15,000. But it's not that; it's the fact that it might be down a month or two
exactly.
while I'm doing it. So all these things factor into it, and I plan on, you know, looking at the metrics straight across. And the part for me that it is going to work is we're really kind of innovating in our marketplace, because there's people who have some of this, but I think to do it on a one piece of tool at a time isn't cost effective. And then so there's smaller landscapers who probably can't pull this off, and or they don't have the charging facility at their office, or you know, somebody pulls in at the end of the day and forgets to plug in. I've done that before with my Tesla, and it makes for a long day. But the idea now is to have a system approach that if this works and at this scale, then it's a game changer. For me, the reason I'm doing it, it's cost effective. It's got a lot of great co-benefits for my clients, but I also think that as an innovator in the industry, it's a differentiator when I go to bid. My next proposal is, yeah, we charge about the same as the other guys. We do about the same work. You know, we're always looking for why we're a little better.
Yeah.
This makes me a little better. So we'll see. And that, so I got to measure that as well. If I pick up more accounts, then that is worth more to me than saving a little bit of gas.
We have a name now. Come up with your crew. We call it Optimus crew.
There it is.
The Optimus crew are basically representing the people who has a cube, who has a whole set of Optimus products, and who is able to have a total solution for when they move from gas to battery. And then I'm so glad you are taking this approach, because everything you described, I spend half my time developing products. So I've been behind every single product you see over there. And then so for product development people like us, what you just described is basically the things
Perfect scenario.
we are working. We spend all our efforts to make that happen and for that to happen. And then so I really appreciate the audience like you that are able to appreciate the benefits of the program. And then this is like what the purpose of our work is for. Sure. So make your life easier, making your life more bottom line even better, and then making you having a better client, better
There's a quote from a guy named Buckminster Fuller. He's an old architect, and he was a speaker.
Yes.
And he said, you cannot fight existing reality. If you want to make a change, you have to replace existing reality with a new and better model.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're looking at here. And that is a big part of the green transition,
Yes.
which is what we talk about when we're talking climate change and that kind of thing. You can't expect investors who just put in billions of dollars into fuel, mining equipment, or whatever it may be. You can't expect them to not want to protect their investment. And this isn't the fuel industry. That petro fuel industry is going to be along it's going to be on the planet for as long as you and I are.
Yes.
And they're not going to be hurt by this. In
No.
fact, I think flow of money will go into this.
Yes.
It's just another way of producing a better product for people and for businesses, right? So I think that's what we're looking at, and this is a perfect example of that. We were just on Al Gore is the ex-vice president of the U.S. Is big on climate,
Yeah.
and we were just at his facility
Okay.
in Tennessee,
Okay.
coincidentally.
Okay.
So, but
Which part of Tennessee?
he's got a big. Well, he's Carthage, which is outside of
Southern Nashville. Okay.
But when I was there and Joe was there, we walked around his whole farm and I didn't see any electric equipment.
Aha.
So I'm going to be, trying to get in touch with them and say, "Hey, right in your backyard
Yes.
is a company that's doing this. You should be using this on your product."
Absolutely.
But this is how word of mouth works.
Yes.
But it won't work if the system's out in place. So if people are buying equipment and they're buying it one off and they don't charge it right or they don't understand, the entire process, then it can slide you back a little. But if done correctly, this becomes, I think, a big game changer. So I'm pretty excited to be involved in what you're doing, and it's interesting because my other company is Soil Seed and Water. I manufacture organic soils for, and we've got 30 some odd blends. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm coming up with blends to grow different products and drought blends.
Okay.
For saving water,
Uh-huh.
and it may be a blend for citrus or a blend for palms, and so I know, and it's not easy. There's so much product development, there's so much testing, and then there's certifications, and it's a long process when you can just to get to market, and then once you get to market, now you got to brand this thing, and now you got to sell this thing. But it seems like you're in pretty good position. It looks to me like you're close to a tipping point where it starts selling itself. And how long do you think you have before all your competitors follow suit? Because the technology you had to go through and the testing and everything. But what do you think? How much time? Because if you got that lead time and you become number one in your space, then you'll always be Coca-Cola.
I actually want the other brands able to catch up and then able to make this industry move from gas to battery. And then the sooner they are also able to catch up with us, I think the stronger we as a whole community to convert to the industry. And then so for that, I think it's actually a good to have the other people trying to catch up with us. At the same time, we just keep on working the next thing. So in year 2025, we have in Q2, Q4, we have quite some new products coming out. And then every new product coming out, we build the logo of Optimus.
Yeah.
So basically everything coming
There's
out.
a few pieces I'd like to see. I'd like you to see a sweeper added to it. Now you have a pressure washer, but it's still a cord.
We just launching a hybrid one.
Oh, okay.
So you can have the cord. You can also have a battery.
Okay.
So the machine, when you have access to the power, you can plug in.
Yeah.
And then
For years, I used the Prius, which was the best
hybrid
on the hybrid.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course, the price jacked up quite a bit, and now there's other alternatives. But for many years, to me, that was the cost-effective vehicle of choice. It couldn't tow vehicles or do trailers or anything else, but it was for the purpose I used it for, it was extremely cost-effective.
The other thing we're working on is autonomous. So we are working on how to make the electric Z autonomous as well. So a hybrid one. So basically, the current Z you have, in 15 to 18 months' time, we're going to have a retrofit kit for you. And then you can mount that to your electric Z.
Smart to be able to retro, so I don't.
Yes,
I don't become obsolete.
No,
You're in.
We don't want the people who trust with Greenworks Optimus are the people at the early adopters. They're the people put their faith in us. So we need to make sure their investment is not going to be able to fully utilized when we have the autonomous feature coming out. So that's why the kit is able to retrofit all your existing Z so that your operator is able to drive themselves or let the machine cut themselves while they are doing the cleaning up the ages, etc., etc.
Right. Good.
So I think the 10 years from now, we are also working on total autonomous solution. So I think that would come, it has to come. So that's an area that as organization, we spend a lot of money in robotic mower and also in autonomous feature. So
How about the robotic mower, the small little,
yes. Well,
like the Zumba that you have in your house, right? Do you have that?
we have Q2 we coming out right now. We're actually launching in Europe right now, and in Q2 we will be having those units here in US. So robotic mower. So we will be able to have 3/4 acre to 4 acre.
Perfect.
Yeah. So those units you can virtually can put it out there.
And when it comes down to most landscapes, at least in the desert, we have grass, but it's more of a xeriscape. So
Yes.
on the East Coast, everything is grass.
Yes.
But over here we have just enough to make it aesthetically pleasing
Yes.
for a sport field.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, there's pockets of grass everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're all with it less, not all, but you have quite a few that are less than 4 acres. Now we have properties we manage that have 80 acres of turf, but they're in pieces where it'd be great to be able.
Robotic mower.
I'm saving a little labor, but it's also kind of a cool factor.
Yes.
And
People look at it's cutting on its own, and also it has a beautiful pattern cutting.
yeah.
So you can do like cross cutting. You can do like the line.
You know what? That's one of the things I look for is that, and I try to push it with my guys is to cross cut. Because when I was a kid, I used to have a landscape car, and it was a beautiful look, right?
Yes.
And they're like, we don't have enough time, so they'll go.
They just do one line, single line.
And nobody's asking for it. Nobody's documents or whatever. But when you have a machine that doesn't require a driver, you can do those things, right? So that's and provide a better product for the end user.
So in Q2, when we have the units, we will send the units to you guys for you guys to be the one of the first in the country
Love it.
to take it on.
Yeah.
So the technology is moving so much. I think our job is to make you guys life easier.
Yeah.
And then with all this innovation coming on in the horizon, so it's actually a very exciting time.
Yeah, you can't just rely on technology alone. You still have to have the social factors involved.
Absolutely.
How people are still people.
Yes.
But the technology is the way. Technology's gotten us into a lot of problems, but technology will get us out of those problems.
Exactly.
So, but great having you on the podcast.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having us here today.
Thank you.
Congratulations to everything.
Thanks for coming over. Thanks for your support and partnership.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for all the things you guys are doing for the environment. I think that's a very good cause. So thanks.
Well, we're in right now in Africa. We do schools in Arizona, and we think it's a platform that can go worldwide. Because now every kid, probably you've got children.
Yeah.
They're all on their phones or their laptops all the time.
Yes.
And we want them for an hour a day to go to a school garden. And in that school garden, learn about life, because everybody lives in cities now. They don't understand what soils are like. They don't understand the evolution of plants and how they grow, and photosynthesis and all of that. So that's what we're doing in our mission, really, in Africa. And we want to go into Southeast Asia as well. But the mission is to, because things are very different, right? They don't have a capital support or an infrastructure.
Yeah.
So they're to be able to do sustenance farming there. There's ways to improve it because whether climate change, you believe in it or not, it's real.
Yeah.
And we're seeing in Africa, for instance, less and less rain. Well, it's rain-fed agriculture. In some places in the world where it could be in parts of Southeast Asia, for instance, where you're at in Vietnam, they're getting too much rain, where the rain is not predictable.
Yes.
And we're seeing that everywhere.
Hurricane all the time.
Well, so processes of farming that go back thousands of years. You know, they go back to, you know, using different waste products, your composts and your waste, to help protect from a heavy rain, you know, and to absorb
Yeah.
and to hold on. Those are things that we do with our nonprofits. So that's a
Wow.
it's similar to my soil company,
Okay.
but and then the irrigation components that I had to learn doing landscape company, you know, it all kind of came in place. So it's funny how it all kind of works together, but
But it's all related with mother.
it's all related.
Huh?
Sure. And I think that's, you know, as we, you know, obviously you're an optimist. To do what you did, you have to be an optimist.
Uh-huh.
And sure, there's a lot of issues, global issues, but, you know, to understand that you can solve these problems. And that's ultimately probably what I don't know what drives you, but you're in product design, you're in and you're trying to flush all this stuff. And I'd imagine not just the use of your creativity, but your problem solving skills is probably what drives you, you know, to keep you going. Because, you know, at the end of the day, anybody can make money, right? But you're in a place where you're making real change, and that is considerably, you know, more rewarding, I think.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
While you are able to make a good, successful business, at the same time, you feel your cause or the thing you are doing is for the good benefit for the final users, also for the environment.
Right.
So you actually it's a challenging work, but you really enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Click subscribe and like for ongoing insightful conversations. Explore our webpage for show notes and additional resources. Visit our guests' webpage for deeper insights. Your engagement is the foundation of our journey, and until next time, keep pursuing wisdom.